What is up, YouTube? Welcome to Traptrix in depth. In this part, I am going to explain some things about Dimension Shifter. Since the card isn't in my deck, I've gotten a lot of questions, both on YouTube and on Facebook and on Messenger, asking me why I'm not playing Dimension Shifter, what its uses are in Traptrix at the moment, and how we can actually utilize our deck with the card to show us some good lines maybe. The first thing I'm going to say, the reason that the card isn't in the deck for me is not because the card is bad. Like, Dimension Shifter is an amazing card, especially this format, when you're going up against all those Snake Eyes, those Fire King cards. If you see this card going second or going first, it's amazing. Like, they have to banish everything. Some players can actually play through it a bit, so you still have to watch out. But for me, the general consensus is I hate drawing this as a 6th card or later on in the game, because this will be just dead, and if you see this and it's dead, it's probably going to cost you the game. And I don't want to take that risk for myself, but if you guys want to do that, like, be my guest, I don't mind. And that's why I'm going to explain some combos that you can do that I think that are needed to know, like for going first. Going second, it's simple. Going second, you have this card, you activate it. That's it. Like, what else can you do? Like, but going first, this has an entirely different dimension. People think you have to activate this as your first card and just let it be. The things that you can do are this. The first thing I'm going to do is a combo, which you might recognize, having Pudica and Mermelio with the Dimension Shifter. So the thing, I'm going to put my Dimension Shifter here. It is in my hand, and let's go for the combo. So my hand's over here. First things first, normal summon the Pudica, use its effect, and get yourself the field spell. Now I am going to play without fear of any hand traps, because if I have to do that, then this has no meaning at all. If I would get draw unlocked right here, I still have other cards in my hand, of course, but I don't know those at the moment, so yeah. Yeah, anyways. Link this off into a Traptrix Sera. Now you're thinking, oh, but now you have a Pudica in your graveyard. You cannot use Shifter anymore. Well, you'll see in a second. Activate the garden, use your second normal summon, Mermelio effect, get yourself a trap card. In this scenario, I'm going to pick Gravedigger's Trap Hole. I love the card to bits right now, this format, it's really great. Sera is going to trigger, you're going to set a Holotea from the deck. I'm not going to play around Nibiru as well. You might be able to with other cards in your hand, but right now, this is the combo I want to show, so let's go for it. Special the Holotea. Use the Sera's effect and you get the Dionea. Now, Dionea is going to trigger and you're going to set the Gravedigger's Trap Hole. Everything up till now is actually really standard. So, yeah. Now, the thing that I like to do with these is, even though I know I'm going to use the Shifter, I am still going to go into the Traptrix Rafflesia. It's something that you can swap out. You can also play something else. I'm going to show you guys in a second. But if the opponent has a nip right here, you can actually still kind of play through it. So yeah, at least you'll be having that. But the Rafflesia isn't actually all terrible right here to have. I'm going to show you that in a second. So right now, Garden effect. I'm going to banish the Sera to revive the Pudica. And look at this, we don't have a graveyard anymore. Overlay these two, and you can make anything that you want. You can make a Time Thief Redoer, you can make the Ptolemaeus. To go further, the grave will keep empty. I'm going to show these two in a second. But what I like to do is go Traptrix Pinguicula. Pinguicula's effect is going to activate, and you're going to search Arachnocampa. Trigger the Arachnocampa, make another Sera. And you can all be like, oh, but now you have 2 cards in the graveyard, you can't use the Shifter anymore. Well, it's the opponent's turn, and in the draw phase or standby phase, I really don't mind, you're just going to banish the Holotea and you're going to get the Arachnocampa. It will protect your back row. That's the thing. That's always a thing. So That at the very least is already good. The thing that you wanted though is that your graveyard is empty. Now, if the opponent is going to use like a special summoned monsters effect, or they normal summon, or whatever you want, and you can trigger a trap card from the Rafflesia, you can just go Shifter, chain Rafflesia, like to send a Floodgate Trap Hole, for instance. So if you're playing Floodgate Trap, like if you're playing with Shifter, I do suggest playing something that can trigger on the summon, like a Floodgate Trap Hole, Bottomless, like anything you want from that, because then you can go Shifter, chain Rafflesia, and then send the appropriate trap hole. If the trap hole has to be chain link to what the opponent does, like with Traptrix Trap Hole Nightmare, then you can't do this interaction. But if you're playing Shifter, definitely play a Floodgate or a Bottomless Trap Hole, something along the lines of that. So, and at that point, well, you see your grave is empty, so you can go Shifter first and then chain Rafflesia as chain link 2. That is a thing. So you can actually use the Shifter, still having your full board with the Holotea combo. Now, another thing that I like to make, bar the Rafflesia, is if I just make the Ptolemaeus first. Like, if I have Ptolemaeus, like, these will be in graveyard after Pinguicula, and I have my Shifter in hand. Now, this I like even more, because right here in the end, you go to the end phase, and you're putting a diamond underneath the Ptolemaeus. And you pass to the opponent. This is just one step back. Now, in the draw phase, you're going to use the Holotea, and you're going to special summon the Arachnocampa. Now, this is even better, because the opponent is always going to do something to destroy one of your back row cards. You're going to see that in a moment. The opponent does anything. You want to activate this Shifter. You can do it whenever you want. You go Shifter effect, chain Ptolemaeus. Really fun to do, because if you chain it, they still all go to the graveyard, so you don't lose your resources. And you're going to summon a Durandal on top of the Ptolemaeus. Now you can summon it in attack, you can summon it in defense. I don't really mind either or. So I'm going to put it in attack position. What you've done now is you've activated your Shifter. So the opponent has to banish everything. And you still have the Durandal, which is an Omni-Negate. So if the opponent activates spell, trap, or monster effect, you can just go, okay, Durandal effect, detach. Now you have to destroy a spell or trap of mine. And if they attempt to destroy the back row, it's protected by Arachnocampa. So yeah, that's always a thing. They can pick the garden, I guess. Let's see if they have to pick a face up or face down, or if it isn't. No, it's not specified, but like 9 out of 10, they're gonna like if they read, they're gonna pick the garden. If they don't read it, they're gonna pick the back row, and it's just protected by the Arachnocampa. That's always a thing. But at this point, like, you had the Shifter, you have your Omni-Negate with Durandal, and a fun thing that you also have, that a lot of people don't know, any card that is banished from the Shifter counts as a card which is banished by a card effect. So in any instance, when a monster gets banished from the opponent, you can just use Pinguicula's effect and attach it to the Pinguicula. Like, in any situation. And I think that's awesome. So, yeah. That's like the plus point of running Shifter, I guess, in the deck, that you have some synergy with Pinguicula. I guess that's it for the first combo. I'm going to show one more combo with a little bit of a backstory in that one. So I'm gonna pick that Shifter already. This combo is a little bit more reliant on you having a big hand, I guess, but these things do come up, of course. So and in like, you can have this hand in several ways. So I'm gonna go Boudica, Dionea with a trap card. This is a thing. This might seem like a lot, like 4 cards, but we're just counting the Shifter, and you have to do like a small combo where you have the Dionea already. So now the scenario, this combo plays through Draw and Lock, so you don't mind Draw and Lock at all. And if they Nibiru you, it's actually better. So yeah, let's go for that. First things first, Boudica effect, we start the same, get the field spell. Link this off into Serra. Garden. Oh, sick. Had to sneeze, sorry. And you're going to use your second normal summon for the Dionea, triggering it, special summoning the Pudica. Right here, you can use a Serra, set a Holotea. And you're going to make Rafflesia. Now, at this point, the opponent doesn't know yet that you have the Gravedigger Trap Hole, of course, so they might be reluctant into activating that Nibiru. But if they do have the Nibiru, or like if they don't have it, it's also fine, but if they do have it, like we'll see in a second, Holotea, we're going to ditch the Gravedigger Trap Hole. I think an optimal point of interaction is to do the Nibiru now, because you see the Gravediggers going to the graveyard, and you might be like, okay, if they don't play a second, I get rid of the Serra, they can't trigger it, so nothing comes from the deck. If they let me summon the Holotea and I trigger the Serra, I get to another Dionea, which at least means I get my trap back, and they might not want that. So this is actually a really viable time to Nibiru. So let's first go over the situation where they don't have it, and at the end I will rewind a bit and then we'll see where we're at. So I'm gonna go for Holotea, Serra's effect, and I'm going to summon Vesiculo. Now Vesiculo here is important because it hasn't used its effect in the hand, so you can banish it from the graveyard to set another trap card, which is always like a really nice thing to do. If they still don't Nibiru you, you can just overlay these, go into whatever you want. You can go. One sec. Let's see what I want to do. There's like tons of things you can do. You just need to get the Vesiculo into the graveyard. So if you're not under Draw and Lock, you can go Pinguicula, detach the Vesiculo, and then use Vesiculo's effect to set this. So let's do that for a change. So at this point we're not under Draw and Lock. I'm gonna show you what happens when you are under Draw and Lock, but at the Arachnocampa. And right here you can go Vesiculo effect, set the Gravediggers. And this is what happens if they don't nip you. Like, your grave is empty, you have Arachnocampa, you have the Shifter, and you have this setup. That's like the same as everything. Okay, rewind back 1 second. Now imagine the opponent wants to Nibiru you here. So you have more cards in the graveyard afterwards. Well, you can just go Rafflesia, ditch the Dionea for Gravedigger Trap Hole, you're playing 2, and now you're like, oh my god, that's way too many cards in your grave, you're never gonna get them empty again. Well, that's not really true. I'm going to link off the Vesiculo into a second Serra. Now, the reason I do this is because I needed the Vesiculo into the graveyard. So I'm going to banish it, I'm going to set the Gravedigger Trap Hole. You've gotten rid of 1 already. Now you can go Traptrix Garden, banish the Serra, special summon Dionea. Dionea effect because you haven't used this yet. Go into the second Gravedigger Trap Hole. And now you just have 2 free Gravedigger Trap Holes. And you can still make whatever you want right here. With the Holotea, with the Dionea. So if they nip you, it's actually better. You can just... Oh, I shouldn't have this at this point. And as you can see with this, I didn't go into Pinguicula, so like the Ptolemaeus is just free. So like, why not, right? Yeah. And then again, no graveyard, Shifter is free, you can go Rafflesia for Floodgate in the same chain still. You have the Ptolemaeus to rip off and go into Durandal. You have 2 Gravedigger Trap Holes, and this plays through Draw as well. So this is just a second way where you can go with the Shifter at the end of your combo. And the general consensus of this, and it's really easy, if you want to be able to use Shifter towards the end of your combo, you need to be able to start with Pudica or the Field Spell. because the field spell is actually your way to get back the one monster that you used to make Sarah. That way you can get the card that you put in the graveyard back on your field, and you can just end on whatever you want. You can end on the Redoer because the materials stay underneath it. You can end on that Ptolemaeus combo that I showed you guys. You can end on the Rafflesia because you can chain Rafflesia to your shifter, but you just have to time it correctly. Like, stuff like that. It's actually quite simple. Another thing that I like to do, you can go SP Little Knight as well with 2 materials, because SP Little Knight, if it's summoned, you can just banish a card in the graveyard. So if you have the correct cards in there, you can just Little Knight, banish one of your own cards, make sure that grave is empty. Stuff like that. It's actually fun to do. So yeah. That's it for this video. I hope you guys liked it. I'm definitely not in a positive vibe over Shifter in this deck. I rather play other cards. But if you want it, you can now. I hope you guys liked this and that my combos helped you. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Ciao.